And with that display of British nationalism, Rhevs Palaver is now live. It is Monday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Monday, June 5th. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I say this to absolutely no one because no one is in the stream right now except for myself. Oh my god, I forgot to change mic night again. Hang on one second. Oh, Loina, I'm sorry. Loina, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Loina, I'm sorry about that, buddy.
I will forgive you just because you gave me the best intro a Brit could expect.
Well, and also, this would have been the third week in a row I had Mike Knight's information up. No one noticed all last week for the entire hour that I was talking to Contraption that I had Mike's info over her head, not her own.
I remember because Contraption put in Discord, Mike Knight is above my head. After you uploaded it.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Should be happening. But yes, so I played "God Save the Queen," the British national anthem, in honor of Loina. Look, Seine is here. Hello, Seine. Seine has showed up. Seine, I think you're our only viewer, but that's all right. We love Seine. Seine is our newest friend. So, feeling a little besieged, are we, Loina?
Look, there's the phrase that goes, and I'm paraphrasing here, you can never invade the mainland United States because there will be a rifle behind every blade of grass. Well, you can never invade Britain because there will be a knife around every street corner in this instance. So I'm not feeling too concerned, no.
Yeah, it's just a matter of the knives being in the wrong hands. I would have no problem with a West Ender having a boot knife. The problem is you got these radicalized, and we're not going to go too political. We don't, You know me, I don't go too political, but it's big in the news. I mean, you guys had, I think Britain has had, 3 major terror attacks in the last 3 months, right?
To be fully exact, no, because there was one in London that was in somewhere around January, February, or March, and I'm just fucking it up. But we had one in Manchester 2 weeks ago, and then we've had 2 on the same night connected events in London.
Yeah, but wasn't there one a little bit before the Manchester Ariana Grande bombing? Like, relatively shortly before that?
You could be right, but those are the events I know of. I don't know of anything else. Yeah, it's rough. But the reason I bring this up, it's not, again, I don't get too political, on my channel. I'm not trying to get political. But you said something very interesting to me. You said, oh my God, I've had 3 people ask me if I'm okay. You want to go into depth about that a little? Were you still playing WoW or? No, so what happened there was in Manchester, when Manchester happened, I won, and that was because they knew I was relatively close to Manchester, and they're like, "Hey, are you all right?" And that was kind of awful of them. London comes around, I get fucking 2. When in the event that isn't anywhere near me, I get more people asking me if I'm all right than if, So I just sort of put in Discord, this is the fucking second time someone's asked me if I'm okay. Can you stop being so geographically deficient? And it's fucking... I love you guys. I love the concern, but come on.
Well, so I remember when the Paris truck attack happened. Your mom was in Paris that night, and that was a pretty big freak out for you that night.
Yeah, so that's the one time I've ever...
On holiday?
She was on work, actually.
Oh, okay.
Similar enough. That was the first time I've ever actually been concerned about a terrorist attack, and I believe that also influenced a lot of my shift in beliefs after that.
which is weird because when I first met you, you were pretty firmly ensconced in the left-wing line of thought. And
yes.
I would never say that you're right-leaning now, but I would say you've definitely come to a more centrist point of view where you're like, hold on a second, let's take a look at this. Now, an astute viewer might notice I am wearing a t-shirt that says Reagan for president, and this will come up later. I am going to talk about this again, not political. This is not a political podcast, but I'm going to bring it up. But the thing that amuses me about that, about the, people need to be more aware of where you are geographically. Yeah. My return story was when 9/11 happened. I was playing EverQuest. Yeah, EverQuest. Dude, everyone in my guild. Oh my God, Rhev, are you okay? Are you close to that? I'm like, listen. New York is a very big state. New York State is almost as big as your country. So, if we forget about Scotland and Ireland, it's the size of Britain, I think. You know what I mean?
It's all right. Nobody forgets about that anyway. Yeah.
Scotland, But
who needs them?
I tell people, I'm like, look, if you imagine New York City is this, okay, or New York State is this. New York City's way over here, okay? It's on this edge. Buffalo, which is where I was at the time, is way over here. It's like an 8.5 to 12-hour drive from Buffalo to New York City. People are like, no, you're in New York, though. Arr! So, yeah, I got the same thing. I had probably 24 people asking me if I was okay, if Bob was okay, if AJ was okay. Everyone that they knew that was from New York. It's like, no. New York City is one part of New York State. It's a very big state. It's a very big state. It's huge. It's huge. It's so big. You won't believe how big New York is. It's absolutely fantastic. It's the greatest state in the U.S. It's absolutely huge. I'm telling you, you're going to have to believe me.
I feel like you took up streaming because we wouldn't let you do impressions anymore.
That could very well be it. I hope you've noticed I have laid off my imitating Locke Irish accent.
Yes, but Locke hasn't been around that much, so you don't have an excuse.
He's around. He's on every day. He's around. He just hasn't been talking Discord much, but he's around. Yeah. I usually pop in his channel every once a day and just say hi. Cortrapson says, "Oh God, please no." No, I'm not gonna do the accent. Don't worry.
It was my mum's. It was my mum's birthday today, so me and my brother, knowing she's sort of very left-leaning, we bought her a bar of soap, and this soap was someone obviously cashing in, but it's called Trump's Small Hand Soap.
Oh. I think we may have lost Loina. As you can tell, his connection hasn't been the greatest, so we're going to wait a second and see if he comes back. Oh, there he is. It looks like I see a movement again. Loina, we lost you for a second there. Yeah, you were saying Trump Small Hand Soap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your connection is not wonderful tonight.
I think I may have to go kick someone if that's the case.
Well, you do whatever you got to do. It's, it's fine. But that actually does lead me into the next thing. You're going to be getting better internet soon. You're getting fiber optic cable finally, right?
There was a point somewhere around last week where my family went, fucking no, this is not good enough. There are 7 people in this house. You can't use half a megabyte on fucking 7 people.
Yeah.
So instead.
By the way, just real quick, speak of the devil, there's Locke right there. He must have missed the conversation about me doing my Irish accent, but he just showed up.
Don't you dare.
I won't.
But yeah, so eventually my mum cracked and she called Sky, and they were like, yeah, so currently you've got about 5.2. We can give you fiber unlimited. That'll get you up to like 4.0. Sorry, 40.0. And it was like, fuck yeah, how much is that? It's £1 extra. It's £1 extra. So it was like, yes, please. And hopefully that gets turned on Saturday. They said anytime up till midnight.
but I'm going to be working the next day, so.
Well, then you'll have something to look forward to the whole day at work. You'll be sitting there going, I'm going to have fast internet. Yeah, I'm just getting the message from Skype saying, your internet connection is shit. And I know it's not mine. But that's okay. Exactly. We're gonna push on through. And I think it just froze again. Nope, there we go. Okay. Yeah, but you're also talking about moving out and getting your own place.
Yeah, I mentioned that just before the start of the stream, because this place that I'm working at is on the nicer side. It does mean that I can start looking at apartments and 125s, and if you don't know what 125 is, start a motorcycle. In Britain, they're very, very easy to get. You can get the license for one in a week and insure it in the half that time. I was thinking, I just get busted up one of those, and then I can just have an apartment where I can drive to and from work, and I've got my own place. I've got my own. It's not too large that I can't afford it, and everything is sort of very down to earth, affordable, and I don't feel like I'm throwing half my money away on for the sake of just having something.
Yeah. Well, I've been a big dude. I mean, this goes back years.
Yeah.
I've been saying, look, you want to get a girlfriend? Here's what you do. You ready? Get a motorcycle, and when I say motorcycle, it doesn't have to... Dude, it could be a 2-horsepower Vespa. Get a vehicle that moves that has 2 wheels only. You know what I mean? Yeah. Get that. Get your own place. It could be a closet that you rent in someone's house that's yours, that's your... and is separate from your family, and get a job. Those 3 things alone are all you need to get a girlfriend. That's it. That's all you need. Transportation, your own place, and not having family around, and a source of income. Now, there are other little things that you can do on top of that. Like I've been big on telling you, learn how to cook 4 dishes. And
yes.
But yeah,
I can make chips, as every good Britishman should.
Chips.
Look, I'm British. We eat shit. We talk shit. It's that's how it goes.
Yeah.
I will spare you the effort of another conversation topic and say that I've recently been playing Kotor 1 and Kotor 2 and have finished them inside of a week.
We'll get to that in 1 second. Seine, who, as you know, is a very attractive American woman, says, the accent doesn't hurt either. Come to the U.S. and you'll be very successful. Now, I know that you have a saying that you like to use in this moment, and I'll just let you say it to Seine.
It's very morbid of a saying, but it goes, I will not die here. Which basically means I don't plan to begin and end my life here in the UK. I am at some point, no matter where in my life it is, I plan to at some point find a nice place in rural America. Rural-ish.
Yeah. See, we massage the foreign brain and we go, you want to be American. You want to be American.
I think at one point I said I'm trans-American, and I still regret that phrase to this day.
You self-identify as an American? We must steal him away for ourselves. Yeah, and I know that I know that it being several months away, there's always the chance that things might not go exactly right, but you are planning on coming for Smoke Fest this year. That'll be great. I don't even know if we told Seine about Smoke Fest. I mean, Indianapolis is a pretty far drive from Buffalo, so she probably wouldn't make that trek. But it is a meat bonanza. So...
And that isn't an innuendo either.
No innuendo, just meat bonanza.
No, I've been looking into the travel documents and all of that you have to bring. To go across 2 borders is a pain in the fucking ass, by the way. But fortunately, because America's like, yeah, you're fucking British, come in.
Yeah.
Which you weren't 200 years ago, but now you're pretty cool about it.
Well, you're British and not brown, so that also helps. That also helps. Because we take a little bit of an extra look at people who are like, yes, my name is Sadiq Mohammed Allah. I am British. Really? Let's just look at that visa one more time. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you are
just saying. Just saying. It is a thing that happens.
Well, I mean, there's so many ifs and buts. It's like, if you're not carrying enough money with you, we might send you back home. It's like, but I'm fucking poor. How much money do I have to bring? Give me an exact amount, and I will bring that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, because they even have a clause which is, if you're staying with friends, you still need to bring money. I'm like, okay, but how much? Do I just have to guesstimate it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that goes into the business of tourism in general. In general, any country that's hoping for tourist dollars from another country wants you to bring as much money as you possibly can and spend as much as you possibly can. But, you know, I mean, that's just economics, you know. So
yeah.
Before we get into Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, I did mention this shirt I'm wearing, and I had a funny story about it. And again, not political. We're not going into politics. I had to go to the store today, and I was like, I wouldn't say half asleep, but I was about half brain dead. And you were doing that thing where you're leaning way off screen, just so you know.
Oh, sorry.
Letting you know. This old man stops me all of a sudden, just out of the blue, stops me, and he goes, "Hey." And I kind of look at him. Mm-hmm. He goes, "Yes." And he just points at me like that and goes, "Yes." And I go, "Yes." And he goes, Reagan. And I kind of look down. I'm like, "Oh, right. I forgot what I was wearing." And he goes, "That'd be nice. That'd be nice."
I will give the right credit in this. You are very subtle in how you approve of people's opinions. Whenever I mention opinion and someone who's either centrist or on the right or not far to the left or whatever, whenever I mention opinion, usually it's like or you've got it, whereas with the left it's sort of like
Well, so then I started thinking about it later, and I'm like, well, I got this shirt when Barry was the president, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God, the rotting corpse of President Reagan would do a better job in office than Barry would. But since I don't especially like Trump that much either, I still feel perfectly fine wearing this shirt. It's like, yep, I can still wear this shirt out, no problem.
You get Reagan, put him in the White House, job done.
Well, I've often said, I think an interesting experiment would be to get like one of those lifelike Japanese androids and elect that the president and program it to only say no. Mr. President, we've got a bill here. No. Whatever they want. No. Just let's try that for like 4 years. Let's see how that goes. Just veto everything.
Would you like to save these starving children? No.
Guess what? The government doesn't do that. The government doesn't go, "Oh, we want to save starving children." So that's not really an issue. But again,
moving on to Kotor.
Moving on. We're getting political. So, Star Wars: The Knights of the Old Republic, not the MMO, but the old school RPG.
Yeah. So, hang on, let me move over here before I fall off screen. So you and me played SWTOR for about 2 years.
The MMO, right?
To be more exact, like 18 months. Yeah. And all that time, I sort of had it spoiled. I knew what happened in Kotor 1. I never knew what happened in Kotor 2. I knew Nihilus exists. I knew Seine exists because I wore his armor for a little bit. And I sort of knew about Kreia, but I didn't really know very much about Kotor 2. I knew what happened in Kotor 1, but I didn't know much about Kotor 2. So a few years down the line, i.e. now, I went, okay, they're just sitting in my Steam library. I'm going to give Kotor 2 a big try because I don't know what the story is. It's an Obsidian game. If I can get into it, I'm going to love it. Lo and behold, I got into it. And it is one of the best RPGs out there at all. As in, if it's in my, if there's a top 10, it's definitely fucking in there. And that includes the Mass Effects. Of course, the Mass Effects are above it.
Except not Andromeda.
We're not getting started on
No,
Andromeda.
we won't. We won't. That's fine.
I'm the only one of our group that seems to really like it.
Dude, I was saying it's a good game. It's not great. It's like 7 out of 10. But I got to the point where there's so many bugs and everything, I just stopped playing it, and I have no interest in going back. But I'm sorry, so continue about KOTOR.
KOTOR 1, I then went on to play, because I was like, okay, if I'm going to play... Hello, Cammy.
Continue.
If I'm going to play KOTOR 2, I might as well finish KOTOR 1 as well. So after I finished KOTOR 2, I went, fuck, that was awesome. I totally cheated trying to fight Treya, because fuck, that boss is hard. I sort of put KOTOR 2 down and went, that was really good. And then picked up KOTOR 1. And I finished KOTOR 1 and went, that wasn't as good. It wasn't. In terms of story, ambience, fucking dialogue, KOTOR 2 blows it out of the water. Especially if you're using the restored content mod. And that was the point where I was like, yeah, KOTOR 1's a good game. But it's not top 10. It's not top 10.
Well, now I tried playing KOTOR. So the first one, not the second one. And,
yeah.
Dude, I could not get past how dated that game is. Like the graphics in it are so bad. Like so bad. Like some games age okay to the point where you're like, well, I know this is an old game. This game is 20 years old, and I can still enjoy it even though the graphics are terrible.
Yeah.
Man, when I played KOTOR, I'm like, this is just awful. I literally could not play it because the movements felt so stiff and clunky, and I was just like, and then someone told me, oh, you gotta download this, 3 gigabyte patch that revamps all the graphics, and then you gotta do this one that revamps the combat, and it's like, or I could just not play it.
Well, here's the deal with it for me is I was going into it going, okay, I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this as much as I can, and what I'm waiting for is for it to click. And with KOTOR 2, it clicked just after I got off Telos. In fact, no, just before I got off Telos. That was where I started to enjoy it. And KOTOR 1, I think my love for KOTOR 2 carried me most of the way.
That makes sense. You kind of wanted to fill in some of the blanks too. Like you're like, oh,
yeah. I mean, in the end of KOTOR 2, and I'm not going to spoil it, even though it's a 12-year-old game.
You can spoil any goddamn thing you want about a goddamn 12-year-old game. Don't worry about that.
Well, I mean, at the end of KOTOR 2, you hear these things about what Revan did at the end, what happened post KOTOR 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, I already knew that because I fought him in fucking SWTOR, but thanks anyway. And then I came to KOTOR 1, and it was like, hang on a minute. This just finishes here. None of what you said in KOTOR 2, I get to see. I just get to hear about it in KOTOR 2, and it's like, all the fun parts about Revan came at the end of KOTOR 2.
So, you're saying in between KOTOR 1 and 2, there's a gap where they insert the narrative, but you never actually see it.
Yes. Yeah. So
how much of that has to do with the Star Wars expanded universe, though? Like, there were the books that were written about those events.
They are probably in the books. I'm going to just make an educated guess then and say they're probably in the books. But what we see in KOTOR 2 is, I never knew how directly that actually led up to SWTOR. At the end of KOTOR 2, they talk about there's this greater evil coming. And in SWTOR, we realize that's the Sith Empire who come and glass Coruscant and destroy Taris. Oh, wait, no, Taris dies in KOTOR 1, doesn't it? Destroys, goes back and just completely obliterates a lot of the Republic worlds, and you end up in the world of SWTOR. And then shit happens, and you end up in the world of the Eternal Empire, which is just not that good. Honestly, KOTOR 2 is the best game because even though you can sort of predict things. And at the end, you're sort of like, oh god, what more secrets do we have in store? And it's like, there are none. There's fucking none. You're still having a good time the entire way. And Kotor 2 is very much the journey and the ending. And I think that's why it makes it into the top 10. Whereas Kotor 1 is just meh.
Meh. Well, it makes a lot of sense, but I like I said, I've tried. I tried to play it and just I couldn't get past the gameplay. And it's not even just that it's old games, because on many people's recommendations, I went back and installed and played quite a lot of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Is that one that you've ever tried?
I installed that, and I was like 5 minutes into it, and I was like, oh, okay. Every edgy character story I've ever read on the internet has come from this fucking game. It is...
Yes and no. I mean, yes in a sense, and no. You have to understand a little bit about Vampire the Masquerade. Vampire the Masquerade came about late 80s, early 90s, and it defined that genre, that sort of edgelord genre of, you know, the misunderstanding and woe is me, I'm a cursed and damned vampire, doomed to eternally walk this earth. Oh, the angst. That, you know, Vampire defined that they made that into the thing that is now a trope, you know. Yeah. So when Vampire did that, it wasn't a trope. It wasn't, you know, a cliche. It was something that they invented. I mean, well, it's not to say they invented it, but they codified it, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But yeah, now you can definitely go and be like, oh, look, these vampires are all ugly and live in the sewer. Okay. Oh, these vampires are like werewolfy and they're all feral. Okay. Oh, these vampires are like the upper crust elite hoity. You know, like, you know. But it's hard to explain exactly how, at the time, that wasn't something that was overplayed and that wasn't something that was, you know, been there, done that a million times over. You know?
Yeah.
Like, the closest thing we had to that sort of edgy, gritty, noir punk was, like, the Cyberpunk series. Like Shadowrun, Cyberpunk 2030. Those things were kind of, like, future noir edgelord. You know what I mean? And Vampire the Masquerade said, no, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it today. Like, it's actually happening right now. You just don't know about it. And that's why it's called the Vampire the Masquerade. Yeah. The vampires have this thing they call the Masquerade, which is, don't let the humans find out. That's what the Masquerade is. It's like, keep your masks on. Don't let them know. We can't let the humans know.
I mean, I love BioWare RPGs. I think this is something well established around me, is that I love BioWare RPGs. It's how you guys met me, was through a fucking BioWare MMORPG, but you get the idea. And I'm actually amazed that I've come out on top and said, hey, Kotor 2 is better than the BioWare game. But after this, what happened was I sort of went, fuck, I don't have anything to play now. So I started going through Obsidian's backlog, and that's when I realized that they were in some way connected to Planescape Torment. So, and then of course I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go play Neverwinter Nights. To which you sort of gave me a caps lock. Why the fuck aren't you playing Planescape Torment?
I mean, I'm just saying, there's been a lot of Dungeons and Dragons based computer games, and almost every single person agrees Planescape Torment has done it the best.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it's not the standard Dungeons and Dragons. It's not you're a mighty warrior wielding a sword or a magic user that fires fireballs. It's a very strange story. It's very weird. It's a very unique setting where you're running around a extra planar city. You know, it's very weird, and it's hard to describe, but it's like everything about it's on point. Like the action, the story, the drama, the comedy. It's all there. It's all on point. Oh my god, my cat is just freaking out. I'm sorry if you keep seeing me looking away. She is just being crazy right now.
I'm expecting a lesson, Cammy.
Yeah, she is nuts. So, Yeah. I don't know. Now, that being said, I haven't played that game in probably 15 years, so maybe that game hasn't aged as well either.
They did put out an enhanced edition, which is what I'll probably play.
Yeah.
Which I hope has got some of those things fixed, but let's face it, if there isn't any of those things fixed, you can fucking guarantee some bright spark has fixed it for you. Both my Kotor 1 and Kotor 2 games were modded to hell and back. The Witcher 2 I was gonna play, and I modded it before I even loaded up the fucking game. But I was sort of like, yeah, no, I like the Witcher series because of the Witcher 3, not because of the Witcher 2.
Well, I've been playing through Witcher 3, and oh my god, I wish I could get this internet connection problem window to go away. It is driving me nuts. Yeah, I've been playing through Witcher 3 myself, and I have never played any of the Witcher games. And I love Witcher 3 so much that it really makes me kind of want to go and try out Witcher 1 and 2. But people are like, yeah, they're not as good. Just so you know, they're not as good. And that's like, oh, okay,
they're not
maybe.
Good. They're not.
Actually,
Witcher 1 is very much...
Go ahead.
Yep.
No, you go.
Sorry, Witcher 1 is very, very much a traditional RPG. It is... it's sort of like the Mass Effect 1. Except that in this case, it doesn't benefit from them. And you find that the combat is very stiff, very unresponsive, and it's just not good, especially if you're coming from Witcher 3. The dialogue is not as good. In fact, there's a lot of different voice actors for people that you quite like in Witcher 3. And it's a bit of a culture shock going backwards, because it's what I try to do. And I did that. I was sort of like, yeah, I can't be asked to install Witcher 2. And when I came to install it, and then I went through the prologue, I was like, yeah, but I know what happens. I've watched so many editorials, so many people have gushed about this game, but I know what happens. It's just... And the fact that the worst part of that game is apparently the combat.
Witcher 2?
Yeah. Makes me go, there's no real point playing this.
Well, okay, so... I heard, and I have no idea if this is true or not. I heard that in Witcher 2, one of the big problems is, okay, so Geralt has two swords. He's got a steel sword and a silver sword. And you have to use your steel sword on humans and your silver sword on monsters. But someone told me in Witcher 2 it doesn't auto-swap. Which, like in Witcher 3, when you enter combat, he automatically just draws whichever sword you need. In Witcher 2, this is just what I was told. So if I'm wrong, I don't know. I haven't played Witcher 2. Someone said, yeah, you have to swap between your weapons. And if you forget to do it, you're sitting there hitting a vampire and doing 1 point of damage instead of like 150. You know? That seems like a bad, frustrating design to me.
Yeah. I believe that's true, given that I went through the tutorial. As far as I can tell, you need to have the right sword out, and if you're not, you're fucking yourself. I did like that in Witcher 1, and sorry, in Witcher 3, where it was like, hey, pull this thing out, throw it around, you're always going to be using the right sword. If something else comes out, just make sure you're using the right fucking sword. It's not that hard.
Right.
In Witcher 2, it becomes more of a task to do. It's more of a chore. You don't want to
I think we're losing you.
You just want to get the vital.
I think we're Loina, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, we're losing
you.
Do you want to try disconnecting and calling right back? Because you're at about 4 pixels right now. Like it is bad, hardcore bad. I mean, you know, a little bit better. A little bit better.
I think I'll call you back then.
Okay, call me right back. We'll take just a minute here, and we'll let Loina call me right back, and we'll just whoops, not that. No.
Okay.
All right. I think that's better.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah,
that's much better.
I mean, dude, you were down to like an 8. I was watching like NES 8-bit graphics trying to render your face. It was, and I couldn't understand you either. Like the voice quality was gone.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I think the little bit of political stuff we had scared off some of the viewers. Just thought I'd mention that. It's kind of amusing. I keep bouncing between 3 and 4 viewers. So I think Lissane's still here, and that's about it. Yeah, anyways, Witcher, good game. Lissane said, nothing scares me. I'm a rock. Well, you know what the thing is about Lissane? Have you gotten a chance to watch Lissane's stream? Because I know that's like... she starts at like 3 p.m. your time.
No, I keep seeing it pop up in Discord, and I'm like, yeah, I could go watch that, and then I get pulled away by something else. It's on my to-do list.
Well, and that's also like whenever in your house is using the tiny trickle of bandwidth you have.
That's when my sister comes home, to be exact.
Yeah. Well, anyways, if you ever do get a chance to watch Lissane, I highly recommend it. She's very calm, very chill.
Mm.
You know, it's.
I did see that. I did see that clip you made of her, where she momentarily tried to become the most cheerful streamer she could.
Hi guys, it's Lissane. Welcome to my Twitch channel. Yeah.
Not even for 5 seconds.
She hates that clip because it is the antithesis of everything she really is. Like, she's very mellow and very, chill. And
time to add it to Mr. Meeseeks.
Oh yes, yes. But the when she did that, it was because she was talking about the types of things she hates. She was saying, "Oh, I hate it when you go to a YouTube and they're all super high energy and blah 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 blah." And then she's like, "Can you guys imagine if I was like?" And then she paused and took a deep breath, and that's when she said that thing. And I'm like, "Oh, thank you for pausing. Thank you. That's going to be a perfect start to the clip." So she, yeah. Yep.
Anyways. It with a passion. She'll use it as ammunition.
Yeah, well, that's what we do with our friends, right? Like,
we fuck with them, yeah.
I mean, you've got too many to count in that channel, and I've got, of course, Oil and Dad Dancing. And yeah, so everyone gets lovingly beaten.
I completely forgot about Dad Dancing. I might have remedied that. Hold on. Fixed.
Dad Dancing. What do you want from me, dude? I'm gonna be 40 this year. I'm gonna be 40. It'll be so much easier next year when I can just be like, yeah, I'm 40.
I'm almost 40. Doesn't quite have the same punch.
No, it doesn't. But that's okay. Yeah, so tomorrow is my wife and my anniversary, by the way.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm. 8 years.
Your anniversary is on D-Day.
6/6? Is that D-Day?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a suitable anniversary for you too.
Yeah, well... Yeah, we were married 6/6/2009, so I always say you just got to flip that 9 right upside down and 666. There you go. And hey, I got a question for you. Do you know when Angie's birthday is? Thanks, Lissane. You can say no if you don't know.
No.
I say it's one of the reasons I married her is I'll never forget her birthday. Yeah, her birthday is September 11th.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
She goes, I had a crappy few birthdays for about 3 or 4 years there. No one was in the mood to celebrate. I'm like, yeah, I can imagine. But so it's easier for me to remember her birthday. So that's always nice. And then,
I mean, if you forget, everyone's going to help you.
And then since Camilla, we don't, she was a stray. She was a rescue cat, a kitten. We don't know exactly when her birthday is, but we just assume it's the same day as our anniversary. So we celebrate Camilla's birthday on our anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Riker, God rest his heart, we didn't know when his birthday was, but we knew it was somewhere within a 1 to 2 week period. So because we are nice and loving people, we decided to give my ex-stepfather, who hates cats, we decided to give Riker his birthday. So every year after he left, we were celebrating Riker's birthday instead, a cat's birthday.
Now, here's the thing, too. Here's how you know your ex-stepfather was a piece of shit. Who hates cats?
He hates cats.
Who can possibly hate cats?
Allergic to cats?
Yeah, but, I mean, even if you're allergic...
allergic to cats. Yeah, they still love them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, whatever. It's crazy.
Whatever.
Speaking of God resting his soul, I'm going to punch you in the fields here. The voice of Walter and Gromit died. Your thoughts, Loina. Go. How does this affect you personally?
So I told you this before the start of the stream, and that Wallace and Gromit were back when there was only VHS. I know you kiddies out there may think that the world was digital for a long time, but it wasn't. Back in the worlds of VHS, you had sort of a few tapes as a kid that you really liked, but they were mostly bought for you by your parents because they saw something that was kid-friendly and they just handed it to you. Well, Wallace and Gromit were what we got, and we fucking loved them. Me and my brother watched those over and over again, and when I found out that Wallace had died, and it was just because I was scrolling through Inja, part of me went, fuck. And I think that is the appropriate autistic reaction to finding out that someone you liked has died.
Yeah. I mean, I remember for me, the first celebrity death that affected me was Johnny Cash. You know, when Johnny Cash died, it's like, no, Johnny Cash. Also, interestingly enough, the first time I found out that my father actually could be pretty cool. So he was a school teacher, he's retired now, so he's not, but he taught high school for many, many years. And so Johnny Cash died on a Friday. And the next Monday, my father went into school wearing all black. All black. And anytime anyone asked him, Mr. Wait, why are you wearing all black? Because my dad wore the same outfit like it was a uniform. It was button-down, long-sleeve shirt with a tie, different pattern shirts or different colored or whatever, but just long-sleeve button-down with a tie, khakis, dress shoes, black sock, every day. And so he went in wearing all black. And everyone was like, oh, what? Mr. Wade, why are you wearing all black? And I think I was going to the middle school that was next door to the high school that he taught at. But he just told everyone that he'd look at them like they were the biggest idiots in the world and go, Johnny Cash died. like, what? Why are you even asking me this? You should know. You should.
Why aren't you wearing black?
Yeah, like why aren't you wearing black? Yeah. So my dad said that to all of his high school students and fellow teachers and administrators, everyone. And when I found out about that, I'm like, okay, my dad can be cool. All right, okay, all right. That was.
Don't realize that's cool, Dad, until you're at least an adult.
I'm sorry. One more time. You're really robot-y.
But you don't find out that your dad's a cool dad until much later in life.
Well, I was still pretty young then, so it was, But, I mean, come on, Johnny Cash, man. Johnny fucking Cash. So, I had, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I feel like the one regret Johnny Cash will have is making the song hurt, because when he died, you can bet that song was played an awful lot.
I'm going to disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. So that was originally written and performed by Trent Reznor in his band 9 Inch Nails, right?
I did not.
Yes. Johnny Cash did a remake, with permission, of the song Hurt, which was originally done, written, produced, and performed by Trent Reznor and released under his band 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah.
When Trent Reznor heard Johnny Cash's version, he started crying and said, it's not my song anymore, it's his. It belongs to him now. He goes, Trent Reznor said, that's my biggest, most popular song. That's the most famous song that Nine Inch Nails is known for, and it's no longer mine. It belongs to Johnny Cash now, or it belongs to Johnny now. He was like, that's it. He, like, for Trent Reznor to say that, you know, to be like, this version of that song is so much better than what I did. You know, I mean, that is pretty amazing.
That's a strong move.
Yeah.
I was going to say, really, I mean, it separates the boys from the men to use the term.
Yeah.
You know, if you could look at something that someone's done and go, fuck, that's better than mine, and go, you know what? You have it.
Yeah. I mean, no, it's not like he signed over the rights to it, and now every time either version is played, the money goes to Cash. But yeah, to say like, okay, creatively and artistically, that song is now like Johnny Cash's version is the, you know, the superior version. You know,
which
it's
is
like
a big deal for an artist.
Yeah. Like you know the song "All Along the Watchtower" that Jimi Hendrix made famous. Yeah. He didn't write that. That's Bob Dylan's. Bob Dylan wrote it, performed it. No one cared. Jimi Hendrix did it, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Yeah, All Along the Watchtower is Dylan's.
My world, as I know it, is a lie.
I've always said I don't, generally speaking, I don't like remakes of songs, but there are a couple. And All Along the Watchtower, Jimi Hendrix's version of All Along the Watchtower is superior to Dylan's version. It just is. You know? Murica!
I mean, in terms of... Oh, hang on, have I lost your audio?
What? Your audio's shit, but sorry, we're just rolling with it.
I thought your audio had died. Never mind. I mean, I feel like that's one of those Vietnam songs. You know how you have Creedence Clearwater, who are very, very, you know, if you're making a Vietnam film, you use their fucking music, or you use All Along the Watchtower. It's one of those like handful of songs that goes okay with, or something that goes really, really well with stuff about Vietnam. So games, movies, books, whatever.
I was really waiting for more of a point to that, but I guess that's where you were.
No. It was just an observation.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I love that. I love a lot of that, you know, Vietnam era, you know, protest rock. I think some of that rock music is, you know, really amazing stuff. Not all of it. I got to be honest. I'm not a big fan of Janis Joplin. You know, some of it, but a lot of it though. A lot of the classics, a lot of the standards, I really dig. Yeah. So, so Mirius says you're cute, by the way. So, or Mirrors. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I should make a list one day of all the songs that have remakes that are actually better than the originals. But that doesn't help. How do you pronounce M-Y-E?
M-Y-E?
Mirus? Mirus? Lassane is not being helpful. Myrus, I think. I think he prefers it Myrus.
Myrus, okay. Well, I mean, it's a... Hang on, it's a he, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's good to know that I'm doing well with the gay crowd.
Mira says...
It's every man's ego.
Mira says he's given up. That's true. Hey, man, I can't tell you how many times I go into a new person's channel and they don't know me, and they say, "Oh, how's it going, Dorsev?" And I'm like, how do so many people juxtapose the R and the S? It's like super common. For some reason, people say Dorsev. I'm like, I don't get it.
I can tell you exactly why.
Why?
People are idiots.
You cut out there. What'd you say? People what?
People are idiots. I mean,
this is true.
That's like, I will. So my first name is Ethan. I have had an English teacher, a fucking English teacher, call me Ethan.
Ethan.
I've had my name spelt like Nathan, but with an E, I have had my name spelled E-F-E-N. I have had Loina, pronounced Loina, or Loina.
Yeah, Seine still does that. She still calls you Loina.
It kills me every time she does, and she's known me for almost 3 years. In fact, no, she has. She's known me longer than you have known me.
Yeah, she introduced you to me, actually. It was through her that I met you, yeah. Well, what are you going to do? You know, you can't get too upset about it. It's like people call Seine Lasane, and it drives me nuts. I'm like, what? Where would you possibly get that from? Lasane?
Where is the accent that makes you think that that's an EY sound?
And, like, I could understand it if it was, like, people who are English as a second language speakers, but as you said, it's, like, in your case, it was someone who was an English teacher, you know? It's like...
A fucking English teacher. I will never get over that. That was my first day of high school, and I'm never getting over it. Oh, fuck, how long ago was that? That was almost 10 years ago. In fact, probably more.
Well, it was more recent than mine. My first day of high school was in... Well, I graduated in 96, so yeah, what, 91, I guess? Right? Like, because 91 to 92... Wait.
This is why I make jokes about you
1991
in cave paintings.
Yeah, 1991. So, before you were born, I think?
About 3 years before, yeah.
Yeah. I was having sex before you were born.
I didn't want to have that thought in my mind, but now I do, and I cannot erase it.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, one way you can look at it, and this has been a love fest between us, because you know I love you, you know. Okay. So it's time for me to get in a cheap dig at you when possible. But what I was going to say is when you're my age, if you're talking to young whippersnappers, you won't have that problem because, you know, they'll have to be really, really young for you to be able to say, oh, I was having sex before you were born. Because you're a virgin! How long has it been since we did the whole Loinas virgin thing?
I think the last time that was a big thing was back during Quiplash.
Yeah. It got old.
It did. And then it didn't.
Let's see. You were having sex with your lesbian lover who dumped you because of EQ, or did you cover that yet? No. I didn't meet this girl that you're talking about until a few years after high school. So, no. This was... Yeah. Loina still got his V card. That's okay.
Ladies.
Ladies?
I made a comment about that the other day, is that I feel like at some point, most men have turned a woman into a lesbian or bisexual.
Well, I mean, you know the story about my first fiance, right? I mean, I've told it many times. Yeah. We were dating, we were engaged, then she started acting weird, and I knew she was cheating on me, and blah, 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 and then you know, Angie and I actually had a talk about that not too long ago, and it came out something else, because I talked about the only girl to ever have dumped me, and she goes, wait, what about Amy? Didn't she dump you? And I'm like, you know, that's a really hard, like, we had been fighting for almost a month, and I kind of knew she was cheating on me, and I wasn't dealing with it well. Like, I was being really aggressive about it. And like, we were just getting further and further and further apart, and like, we were just fighting constantly. And then like one day she goes, I need you to not be home on this day from noon until 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm like, why? She's like, my parents are coming to help me move all my stuff out. And I'm like, fine. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, in a sense, you could say she dumped me, but I don't really think of it that way. Like, it wasn't like when I say, oh, a girl dumped me, it's like, she's like, look, it's not working out, you know, you know, blah, blah, blah. This was like, we had been fighting nonstop. We knew that the relationship was over, and we just didn't know how to, you know.
Say it. Yeah.
So, what are you going to do? Listen, we're down to our last 5 minutes. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Anything specific?
We did get sort of sidetracked there. I'm trying to think what we were talking about before then.
I don't know. I even had like 2 or 3 other things I was like gonna bring up, but that's the way it is when I talk to you. We just and just.
That's where this spawned from. Is you and me were just talking in Skype, and it's like, and this was sort of where you were on your climb in streaming, and you were very much, how can I do this? How can I do this the best? How can I, and you were sort of in that very new phase of, I want to stream fucking everything, and then you realize to rationalize yourself, and as everyone does when they're doing something. But we were talking, and then he was like, "We should stream this."
Yeah, I think that's what it was. We were just on Skype, just bullshitting, and like we'd been talking for like an hour and a half, and I was like, why am I not recording this, or why am I not just streaming this? Like, this is. We're basically doing a podcast for just ourselves. Yeah. But you want to know, so actually that ended up setting up the tone for what Rhevs Palaver has been these last 35 episodes. I tell people, I say, listen, when you get on Rhevs Palaver, it's not an interview. It's not like I'm going to be sitting there firing questions at you and blah, blah, blah. I go, I will, if it needs prompting, but if we start talking, the conversation spirals into weird unknown dimensions.
Yeah.
Cool. Because,
like, because of course we were talking about what we were going to talk about on the podcast, and we got ideas. And last night it was sort of like, hey, you've just finished Kotor 2. You want to talk about that? It took us half an hour to get into that. Which should tell you exactly how this runs.
For those of you who don't know, I talk to Loina on Instant Messenger or on Discord Messenger or whatever, literally every day. And if for some reason I don't, he'll usually send me a Steam message and be like, Yankee bastard. And I'm like, what? And he'll be like, look at this picture of a cat. And they'll send me a cat picture. So
because that's how we communicate.
Yeah. And
that's how we've communicated for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
In fact, hang on, in the last few minutes, since the last show with me on and this one, I believe me, Red, and a few others, and you, of course yourself, have known each other for 3 years.
Yeah,
we hit that little anniversary mark.
Yeah, 3 years since you guys joined the guild I was running. Yep, I remember Seine brought you in. She was like, "Oh, this is someone I knew in Escorts, I think was the name of your guild." Was it Escorts? Yeah, Escorts.
That was such a bad idea, but it led to you guys.
Yeah, and then Reduxa and Q I met just because I was running around Tatooine doing quests, and I just, in general chat, said, hey, my guild's recruiting. Is anyone looking for a guild? We're a social, casual, friendly, fun guild. And then Q is like, can me and my girlfriend join? I'm like, yep, here you go, invite. And they're like, oh, we don't have to do anything? Like, there's no application process? I'm like, no, but if you're a dick, I'll kick you. And they're like, great. Yeah, and so that's how I knew Reduxa. And then I think, I don't remember how Addykins came in. I think that may have been a Bladaze recruited Addykins, but then Addykins brought in Safara. I think.
How do you put in Saf?
I think so. It was like he had grouped with her like 2 or 3 times. Yeah. And he's like, hey, I just joined this guild, and they're actually pretty cool. If you want an invite, I'm sure they'll invite you. And she's like, okay. And so then, like, he said, are there any officers online? And I just invited her, and then that was that. Yeah. By the way, true story, she was, I thought, one of the worst healers I've ever grouped with. The very first time I grouped with her, we ran a flashpoint or a dungeon or something. I don't even remember what it was. And she was healing on her sorcerer, and she was using, like, the most mana inefficient heal that they had and nothing else. Like, she was just using just that one heal. And you know how good I was as a tank on Rackham, and I was like I was like 1 or 2 levels over everything, and like I kept dying. Finally, after like the first boss, I said, listen, I don't want to tell you how to heal, but I notice you're not using your bubble, your bubble. She goes, oh yeah, I don't use that. I'm like, you kind of have to. She's like, oh, it seems so bad. Like, it doesn't seem good. I'm like, no, girl, listen, just, I don't want to be that guy that tells you how to play. Just use it. She started using it. We ran through the entire rest of Flashpoint with no deaths.
That's when, and for reference at the end, it was me, her, and Bob who were our trio of healers. I was usually doing, I was working in the off group bed, and then when she went to Washington, I came in and we were working with Bob.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's not like she didn't become one of the best healers I've ever fucking known.
Yeah. No, it's just when she first started playing as a healer, she was terrible.
You are very fucking lucky you never saw me on my Sage.
No, I remember the first time I ever talked to Bob about you. I said, yeah, this guy Loina, I think you'll like him. He's a really good healer. He's like one of the best healers I've met in Star Wars. And he goes, was he a better healer than me? I go, well, he's online and you never are, so yes. At the time, Bob was like just AFK all the time. I'm like, so yeah, in that case, yeah. Other than that, I'll let you decide. Well, that's it. We're over. It's 9:01, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. And you've been on long enough to know guest gets the last word. So we're going to say our last word, and we're going to wrap up. But before I do, I just want to throw out one or two things. I will not be streaming Friday during the day. I think, however, I will be hosting at 9 o'clock Eastern Time the Team MC podcast. I will be co-hosting with Sir Mike Knight on Friday at 9 o'clock Eastern. But during the day, I will not be streaming because I have to substitute teach. And then I better start looking for a guest for next week, because this is 2 weeks in a row now that I've had people, say they want to be on, and then they just fucking vanish on me. And it's like, okay, Thankfully, I have good friends like you and Cortraption that are willing to step in and shoot the shit with me.
I'm always willing to shoot the shit.
Yeah. So,
right.
Let's wrapping it up. Loina, you know how this works. Last word goes to you.
Same as always, twitch.tv/LornyPants. I will be active there as of Saturday.
All right, everyone, make sure you say something. Make sure you type something in chat, and make sure everyone's following Loiny Pants. As soon as he gets better internet, he's going to start streaming again. Yay! So, for Loina and myself, Rhev, that is Rhevs Palaver, and we will see you all again real soon. Thanks for stopping in. Bye-bye.
Bye. My internet